The false speculations of the Christian religious system.
It says in John 1:12, "But to all who received her, to those who believe in her name, she gave the right to become the children of God." To be precise, we can say that after 20 centuries, so-called Christianity is in the red or losing in numbers. The reason is very simple, and it is because everything that religion has proclaimed about Christ and what it teaches about God's plan with humanity has not been fulfilled, hence, becoming just another religion more, competing with the fables of Islamism, Judaism, Buddhism, and other religious iterations. Let's look at some of its many mistakes. The Second Coming of Christ. This event has been promoted as an image of fantasy and fairy tales, something very similar to a superhero comic book. According to Protestant theology, the Second Coming of Christ is divided into 2 phases or stages. They call the first one the rapture of the church, as an event in which they claim Christ will come to earth, floating in the atmospheric sky and lifting up the chosen ones like in a form of a powerful vacuum cleaner and taking them away. This supposed rapture also includes so-called Christians who have died and are buried, but who, like birds, will also fly off to meet their flying Messiah in the air. After completing the number of those summoned ones, they will all go with Christ to heaven or paradise, an existence of which they have no guarantee. Continuing with this religious comic strip riddled with fantasy, the theologians say that after 7 years, the Lord will return with his church, which will be transformed. According to them, that is the second phase or the second coming of Christ. Ultimately, the imagination and fantasy of this type of religious belief are clearly childlike, and no adult in their right mind or maturity would believe in something like that, much less when there is no proof that such a thing exists. The truth is certainly different because Christ is already present, and she did not arrive flying in the clouds of the atmospheric sky. Her arrival was as human as that of any human being, but unlike the rest, with the power of God the Father, as it says in Philippians 2, verses 6 through 8, who, being in the same form as God, in his image and likeness, didn't consider being equal to God as something to cling on to, but stripped herself, taking the form of a servant to the earthly mind, made in human likeness. And being in the condition of mortal men, humbled herself, becoming obedient to the point of death, and death on a cross. In other words, death to the deceitful desires of the earthly mind, where the devil has his dominion, and she did this in order to save us. The name of Christ, who came today to reveal this mystery of God the Father and Christ, is Lisbeth. She is the wife of the great king and God the Father Melchizedek. Those who favor the version of a rapture foolishly argue that those 7 years, during which the church would be in a kind of spiritual retreat with Christ, would serve to receive the pertinent instructions for coming to rule the world with Christ. Religious people expect a sudden manifestation of Christ and a rapture of the church. But how will their carnal, sinful nature be removed first? And how will it be changed into the fullness of the holiness of Christ, without having neither heard Christ speak her message of life, nor having been taught by Christ, when every man is admonished and taught in the wisdom of heaven, in order to be made perfect before God the Father in Christ? We leave you with that question. To be continued.